Hey Leslie, welcome back. Hope everything is still going okay with your friend and her little boy. I was sorry to hear about that, but glad to hear that they've since gotten better news about it being treatable, and hopefully everything is still going okay there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start off on what you wrote, and then we'll probably skip around a little bit. We'll just kind of see where it goes. But first of all, what you wrote about the giveaway, that's actually a really good idea. In fact, I might even actually have to borrow that from you this Christmas time if you don't mind. I like the fact that you did it local. Was the big thing that kind of struck me, because I mean, I'm sure it does not compare to where you are. I don't know what the population is, but we're in a fairly small town, and I have a lot of good friends who are business owners, and family-owned business owners, and I try to do things to help them out. Their local businesses, but a lot of time my business is actually not in this town. We live fairly close to a metroplex, and that's where most of my clientele comes from. But the fact that you're kind of secluded in that area and you have a lot of local businesses, it helps both of you, like you said, because you can kind of grow off of one another. And while you're helping them, they're also helping you, because some of their clientele that may not really know about you or have really been introduced to you yet, you're kind of getting into that market. And it's nice also to kind of network with other businesses like that. So that's a really good idea. Love that you did that. Okay, so Facebook, you said really old images. When I looked through it a minute ago, it seems that you keep it fairly updated. So I don't know if you were talking about maybe like the cover image or things like that, and then the images into albums. I'll tell you what I do, and you can kind of decide what you would want to do. But I don't normally do albums on Facebook. Occasionally I will. Recently I did several sneak peeks for a birth coverage, and so I put them in an album rather than posting 8 different images back to back. But normally the only images that I post to the wall are like if I do mini sessions or advertisements or just sneak peeks for people. And normally for sessions, for sneak peeks, I normally only do 2 or 3. Sometimes if I have a lot of favorites, I'm really excited about a session, I'll do more. Or if I want to do more sneak peeks for the family, if they came a long way, or they're really good clients, and then I'll post more. But normally 90% of the time I post everything just straight to the wall. The reason for that is because I've done it both ways, and I seem to get more feedback if you post it straight to the wall. I don't know if that means it's just popping up into other people's news feeds more, and especially with Facebook, with all the changing they've done, you pretty much need to do everything possible to help get your updates and your images and statuses onto other people's pages, because Facebook, their things have changed so much. So I have seen bigger return when I do it that way. Also, it just seems, I don't know, to me, I kind of like it better that way, because when people pull up the image, they're not having to sift through albums. A lot of times, like I mentioned last week, people kind of get lazy where they don't want to look for stuff. So if it's just a big image just right there on the wall, and they don't even necessarily have to click on a thumbnail, and it's just right there, they're more likely to look at it. And if it is a big picture and it's more likely to catch their eye, they are more likely to click on it. Then they're more likely to click your blog and things like that. And I don't ever go back and clear things out. Now with the little thing at the top of your fan page, where it tells you notifications and things. Let me see if I can get mine up. Pull up. Of course, I don't know how Facebook's going to work. But your notifications and alerts and stuff for the admin section at the very top, it tells you now when people go and like images. And I've noticed that people will go back and they'll like images, and I'll click on the image and it'll be something from 4 years ago. See up here, and when they comment and things like that. So you can kind of see they're more likely to kind of look for themselves. People will go back and look, and sometimes it makes me cringe, because sometimes the pictures that they're liking and commenting from 4 years ago, my style has changed quite a bit, or I've grown quite a bit more. But I think it's good for clients to see that you've grown. So I wouldn't ever really necessarily delete them, but they are kind of archived naturally in Facebook. People can see when you post it, when people are commenting on it. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. I wouldn't really delete them. I wouldn't really spend the time to delete them either. Let's see, go back. But yeah, your Facebook. Let's look at this before we click off. Love this, by the way. Love the branding of this. Matches everything. Looks really good. I think you changed. That may be new. I don't remember. I think it was different when I looked last time. Looks like you've kept it updated pretty well. Love this. You're doing good. Lots of postings. Oh yeah, you did update that not too long ago. Love this. Love the colors. Love that hat. Love the blues and the greens. But yeah, it looks good. Funny stuff, personal stuff. Looks really good. No, to me, your Facebook you're doing really well with that. You keep it updated. The branding matches. You know how to use pinning the things and highlighting things. I've actually, believe it or not, have gotten a lot of Facebook messages about people asking, how do you make an image stretch across both columns, or how you pin something at the top, things like that. So there's a lot of stuff that people, don't realize what they can utilize on Facebook. So, but you're doing a really good job. Definitely keep up what you're doing here. And okay, so for your branding, and then for Facebook too, I meant to mention this earlier, with your giveaways, that should definitely help boost your fan base. Another tip, I don't know if I mentioned this last week or not, but when you do giveaways, if you do branch off into different businesses or even online businesses, shops, Etsy shops and things like that, make sure that you're not constantly doing giveaways with the same businesses, because after you do one or two giveaways, pretty much all the fans or the clientele that those businesses have, the fans that you have that they don't, and the fans that they have that you don't, if they haven't gone and liked your page for giveaway, they're probably not going to. So once you've done that once or twice, really once, you kind of max out, how much you're going to help each other grow. Now, local, it's different because I believe in continuously helping them grow and kind of networking with them. But online things and shops like that, if you do approach one, it's always best to, you don't necessarily have to go for the one that's got 20,000 fans, but definitely go for something that's maybe got 2,000 or 3,000 at least. And with you've already got over 1,000, so that'll help them maybe grow their fan base a little bit too. But that's definitely a good way. And those fans may not necessarily be, in Alaska. They may be elsewhere, but just kind of building your fan base to get your name out there more. That's a good way to do that. So keep doing the giveaways. And okay, so back to your branding. I want to know who did your branding, because it's gorgeous. Two things. First of all, I want to know who did your branding. And second of all, I want to know where you got these bags, because I am now in love with those. Those are gorgeous. I've never seen anything like that. And it does match your branding. Love your branding. Love the logo. When I see everything, and now this isn't coming up. When I see, but I did see it a minute ago. Is it up here? Yes. I'd pull up twice just to make sure it came up. Okay. Now that I see all of this, I'm just that much more in love with it. And then about your business name too, I just assumed maybe Meadow was a middle name. I didn't know, but I do. You did good. Sarton it is kind of a more difficult name, I guess, for people. You start to question like how to spell it and things like that. And then too, I understand saying it over the phone, it may not sound quite like it's supposed to, so that's a good idea. But it's beautiful. Leslie Meadow is beautiful, but your branding is amazing, especially the fact that you're in Alaska. It's perfect. I love it. Love the deer, the crown. To me, and I was thinking this when I saw the pictures, of course, when I opened the post. Of course, I scroll down immediately and look at the pictures before I read anything. But just looking at it, what I got off of it was whimsical and fun and earthy, but also very girly. Not very girly in a bad way, but feminine, because you're a woman photographer. Obviously, you want it to be feminine. You want it to represent you, and that's exactly what I get from it. And when you described it, it's exactly kind of and that's what you want. You want when someone to just glance at your branding, that's you, that's your whole business, kind of in a tied up together. So you want someone to kind of get the feel of your style and what you're going for and your passion, all just by glancing at that. So that's a wonderful job. Did perfect. But I want to know who did that, because it's amazing. Love your logo. Everything's beautiful. I love that you were able to implement little fun objects like the kite and the paper airplane, the deer and the crown. And the first thing that I think of when I saw this was and I know these are just moose stickers, but I want to know, I want this as your Facebook header. Pull Facebook up. And your blog header. Okay, so this is new. The first thing I thought of this, I love this image. I love all these images. But there's just something about it. It doesn't really, I don't know, it doesn't really match your branding. It doesn't really catch my eye. I feel like this is a little more cluttered. It's not like this. This right here is more, there's more order to it. It's a little bit more organized. I like this. This is, it's less busy, and it makes me, want to read what's on there. It makes me want to look at it. This almost is a little bit too much cluttered, and you can't really appreciate all of the images because they're all just kind of jumbled up there. Like I said a minute ago, I love, and this is a good point. I did not even realize until my mouse landed there that was that image. I did not realize that images down here that I commented that I loved, I did not realize that it was up here because it just doesn't really catch your eye. So if I were you, I would change this up, and I would definitely pick like 1 to 3 or 4, or you could do a little bit more depending on how you laid it out, but just a few of your favorite images, and change it every now and then. I don't change mine just because I kind of get stuck on a few that I really like and I just stick to it. But you can change it every so often if you like to, but just pick a few that really stand out and that kind of catch your eye and stick with those. And I think people are more prone to look at them than to look over them if they're a little bit more pleasing to the eye or aesthetically pleasing. You just don't want to make it too busy and cluttered up because I feel like it would take away from your branding, and I love your branding. But what I was talking about with the mood stickers is I tend to do a lot of stuff like this too, where you make a collage with like white space with just perfectly symmetrical circles, and then have images in circles or words in circles, and same thing with squares. I want to see more of these objects. I want to see more of this that's in your branding. I want to see these objects other places. I've seen a couple of them, like the deer and the crown, and then on your website you see a couple of them, but you don't see it a lot. I see them in your background, I guess is really I saw them. I want you to work those into other things. I want you to work them into just random things like just use them as clip art. Don't overuse them, but I want to be able to think of these objects when I look at part of your branding and I see your logo. And, you've got them, and they match perfectly. I say use them, use them, use them. But I really like these. And but what I was talking about is, you can make a rectangular cover image like this and place it up here and then have the squares just like this, but maybe have green behind this crown and this teal behind the deer and the salmon pink color maybe behind the kite or the airplane. And then where these other images are, that instead of having your logo, have one of these deals your logo, and then have an image here and here and here and then here, and then have these just images with the color backgrounds, and then kind of pick images that have those light colors. Like for instance, pick this one and place it next to the green one, and pick an image. Really like this one. Pick like this one that has that salmony color in it. If you have a plum, pick one like this. Things like that, and kind of bring the colors out, because you're doing good at that, because you draw an image or a color out of the image, and that's the color that you place your logo. I know that that's part of your style, and that's kind of part of your branding. So use that to your benefit, and use color more places. I know that I read through your message the first time, and I saw where you said you like to use all those colors, but I think sometimes you're kind of afraid to, and you kind of stick to more gray and green. Use them, because last week when I said, stick more to green and gray, that was just looking here. But now looking at your branding, I have a whole, new thought process for this. Same thing with this header. I would change that up. I would use more of your clip art. I would still drag that down, but and I was kind of on the edge about this pink last time, but I would say almost bring a couple more of the other colors in it. Bring, and I think a lot of it too, I'm not a big fan, for some reason. I'm not a big fan of this color pink. It doesn't really match yours. It's more kind of a hot pink. I love this pink. If you're able, I don't know if you're able to do that with that template, but I would change that pink to that color. I would bring in this teal, definitely, because those three colors together are amazing, and they work perfectly with your branding. I love, sorry, I keep forgetting which page I'm on. I love this also. I like I think just because it's a little bit lighter and a little bit airier and it has your background in it. But I like this instead of this. I like the way this is laid out. I'm not as much of a fan of this little slate gray background here than I was last week. Just because now, like I said, I've seen the colors that you have in your branding, and you are not using those to the full extent that I think you could. You could definitely utilize those in your branding because it's beautiful. I love all the colors with that. So definitely bring those out. Your packaging looks wonderful. It definitely matches your branding. I love the little cards. I love these bags. And again, I want to know where you got these. They're amazing. Love the boxes with the twine, the little bags, custom flash drive, and those are really neat. I'm still using discs right now, but I'm looking, of course, to switch to flash drives since the new Macs don't have disc drives. I've still got a little while because a lot of times our clients don't always have the newer equipment than we do, but I'm still trying to use up discs that I have in bulk. I don't want those to go to waste. But I wanted the place that I'm getting off subject, but the reason I was saying that was because I've checked into Flash Pay, I think it's called, and I've actually seen those. Those are really neat. So if you don't, tell me where you've gotten those because those are really neat. I like the bags. I feel like it goes along with the branding with the floral and kind of the earthy feel. I love it. It's fun and bright, but it's still earthy. It definitely matches your branding. But I love the move stickers. I want you to use these more. And see, that's that slate gray, and I like it behind those. I feel like it just needs to be broken up a little bit more with those colors. Maybe even utilize, well, you've got teal in there. I was going to say you can always utilize some more of this teal in your branding. But it's gorgeous. This all looks good. Same thing. And I don't know if this is just if this is the one you use on all of yours. I love this image. Love both of those. But remember to change up. You don't always have to change up the colors and the layout and everything. But remember to update your images ever so often, because I've seen several images on your Facebook that I love and that I would almost rather see on that header than one or two of those. So definitely always still love that one, and it just matches your branding so well. But always, little changes like that, like just changing images out and things like that would make a big difference. Just keep it updated a little bit. And it's hard to do that because I do the same thing. I don't update my header images or anything like that. Okay, so the other thing that I was going to say... Okay, so you don't feel like you've been able to put together a cohesive look. To me, the branding that they created for you is perfect. A lot of times I'm really kind of nitpicky about branding, and that's why I guess I've never really gone off and kind of bit the bullet and had someone do it for me, because I'm really indecisive and I tend to change my mind quite a bit. And I've always been afraid that I would, spend all this money and have this branding and then change my mind and kind of fall out of love with it very quickly. Yours is perfect. I think it matches your, just from hearing you talk about, your branding and your style and what you're kind of going for, and then seeing your images, I feel like it matches you perfect. I feel like it would be fairly easy to kind of make it cohesive since they've already kind of laid it out for you. It's a matter of placement and using those elements that they've given you. Like I said, if you're afraid that it's not cohesive, and I mean, nothing's set in stone, so change your template up a little bit, change the layout up a little bit, change your marketing materials up just a little bit. You don't have to marry it, you don't have to keep it forever, but just kind of see how it feels. If you print up some client handouts or something, only print up 25, just kind of see how it feels. Don't order in bulk just yet. Don't kind of sell yourself on it where you're stuck with it, because then you'll really be unhappy. But I do feel, don't be afraid to use those colors, because you have a lot of color in your images, and while a lot of times, you don't want to go overboard and have too much color on your branding and then too much color on your images and kind of be color overload, but I don't feel like you're close to being there. I feel like you have a lot of room where you can really play with those colors and bring out your branding, and it shows in your images. That's your style, and it fits you, it suits you well. So definitely take advantage of those and use those and try them out. And I know you mentioned about the online stuff and the printable stuff. I think that's really just a personal preference. I don't know if I said this last time. I've sat down and worked on. I've even, thought, well, I'm so indecisive if I buy a template and even tweak the template a little bit. I have spent money on templates and I have never printed a thing. Like I said, I'm just indecisive. And then I tend to kind of like to do everything online. A lot of times I would print materials, I would forget to hand them out, and I'd be stuck with them, and that's just wasted money. Or I would buy the stuff and then I would change it immediately, and then I'd throw that out and just order new. And again, that's wasted money too. So it's really personal preference. I tend to do a lot of my stuff online, and if you do too, then it would be easy to just implement all this into online stuff. But again, you just have to keep it updated. Either way, printable or online, you've got to keep it updated regardless. But it's just a matter of just kind of putting your foot down and making yourself do it. Digital's fine, and it's really kind of what works for you. If you if it tends to be easier to just email your clients if they prefer it, then that's fine. And then you said you're not sure what to make digital and what to make printable. I know that you said in there somewhere that they sign their agreement and everything online. I do the same thing. I use mock forms, and that may be what you use also. They work really well. And then after they sign their agreement and they mail you the retainer, then you send them the information about what to wear. That's perfect. That's actually really good to send them online. If you want to send them something printed, just make it just that, a welcome packet. Look forward to working with you, or if you haven't met them yet, look forward to meeting you. Look forward to working with you. Please let me know if there's anything that I could make your experience more personable. Any questions you might have. Get something that matches your branding. Like you got these cute little bags, send them a little card. Even get stationery with your sorry, messing up again. Get stationery with your branding, and then write them a little hand note, just something short, and then you can always stick like a little piece of candy or like rock candy or some bright color that matches your branding, something like that. Just something neat, kind of personal that reminds them, hey, I've paid this person money and I've got a session coming up, and kind of gets the the wheels turning on getting outfits and getting everything together, and just something nice for them, like I said. So. But again, it's personal preference on what you want digital and what you want printed. And you don't have to do anything printed, but it's just up to you. Let's see. Are we messed up now? Okay, I think my internet's about to shut down again. Okay, so anyway, summing all that up, the branding looks great. Facebook looks great. You need to keep it updated, like you said. Just maybe, like I said, implement. I know I repeated myself 100 times but dude, implement some of your elements and everything that they gave you with your branding, and really use those to your advantage and bring that out. Because I kind of had a certain feel of your branding when I looked at your website last week, but now that I've seen all the aspects of it, it kind of changes it up a little bit for me. And even though I liked it last week, I love it this week. And I want to see, what you can do with all those objects. And just play around with some stuff and change it up, and see how you like it. And it's just kind of to taste and personal preference. And, change your cover image up, change up some of your marketing, and just post it and kind of see what return you get from it, what clients say and how they like it. But let's see, next week, see if I have my pamphlet here. Next week, do I have it? Next week is pricing. Okay, so let's see, this week went over branding. Says here's your target market. We pretty much covered everything. I feel like you are kind of aiming towards your target market, although I feel like your branding could, which you I mean, I don't think you said you really want to, only shoot children, but that's kind of what you specialize in. I feel like the branding is wide range enough that you could shoot families and engagements and bridals and things like that. It's not narrowed to just children. It's not babyish, is what I'm saying. But it does the bright colors and stuff. You could, if I went to your website and you said you were a child wedding photographer, I could see it just because it's more fun and feminine and just it's pretty. So, but yes, I think that you're doing well with your target market. Next week is pricing. So, just post pricing, sessions, mini sessions, prints, all inclusive, anything like that. Pretty much anything that you've got. What your goal income is, how much, how many sessions you're wanting to book, how you set your pricing, how you came about that, if you just picked it out of the air, if you sat down and actually did the numbers, and we will go from there. So look forward to your next post, and hope that helped you this week.